Hello. So I'm back to show some expansions or extensions on some of the techniques we looked at last time using the nibbler to create some clave patterns. So first of all, I'm just going to remind you we created, by self-patching a nibbler, we were able to create the son clave pattern. And the simple patch here is whenever the 1 bit is down, add 9. Whenever the 1 bit is up, only add 1. Now, you might say, well, we're kind of doing the opposite of that here. It looks like we're adding whenever the 1 bit, is up. But what we're actually doing is we have the base set to add 9, and then when the 1 bit is lit, we are adding an additional 8. 8 plus 9 is 17. Wrap, because it's, mod 16, that adds 1. Normally that wouldn't work because, as you can see, that would keep the carry bit high too often. Previously we were listening to the carry bit. But one of my followers, and I'll put their name up on screen right now, not followers, I should say, one of the other forum members at ModWiggler, they pointed out to me that if you just look at the beginning of the gates, it's actually the same pattern as the carry pattern. It's the son clave pattern. So let's listen to that real quick. Bum, 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 bum. And I'll put on screen right now, you can see this is what is produced, and this is how the gates work, such that if we just look at the onset of each of the gates, we actually get these 5 pulses. Now, I was really excited about this for a couple reasons. The first reason is, traditionally, if you're looking at the carry pattern, that can't be transposed over to another nibbler unless you're also adding the same amounts. The carry bit is a product of the current state plus whatever is going to be added next. However, if we're looking at the 8-bit rather than the carry bit, what we can do is we can patch the output of one nibbler into the input of another nibbler, and then we can use the add setting, if we have this in async mode, to offset the pattern in the similar to the way that the phase offsets offset the pattern of one nibbler. And what this allows us to do then is we can mix the gates coming out of one from the other, and the other can kind of act like a delay or a fill. So let me patch that up and show you what I mean. So first, in order to accomplish this, we're going to take all of the gate outs from one nibbler into the other, which essentially copies the value of that nibbler into the other one. So here we have to use a mult, put that into gate 1 over here. Then we'll use great. And then we will set all of this down to add nothing to start, and we will listen to that 8-bit on that second one. And let's hear what comes out. So I'm going to turn back on the pattern. So you can hear that they're more or less synced. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to transform this gate into just its trigger onsets. So let me do that using, again, another channel of gate and trigger. Let me mute the kick right now so we can just hear the second pattern. Let me turn this up a little bit. Try to find a good sound for it. Okay, so if you look, they're synced. They're playing at the same time. But say I add 4 to this one. Let's listen to what happens. So basically, this one now is offset 4 beats from the first one, let's hear what happens if I add 8 instead. And this I find to be exceptionally cool. I'm going to put up on screen right now a special pattern of the son clave as covered in the geometry of musical rhythm, which is that if you take the son clave and you rotate it 180 degrees, it becomes a shadow of itself. And Toussaint identifies a shadow rhythm as if you played directly in between the notes. So if you imagine a hand like hitting a drum, like dun, 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 dun. The shadow pattern is when it's at its top, so dun, 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 dun. It's very hard for me to do, but if you listen to the click pattern, that is equal to that shadow pattern. So we're getting something really, really cool here. I'm going to adjust the out of the gate and trigger just a little bit so we get slightly longer gates by using the 2-bit for my onset instead of the gate and trigger, because the 2-bit allows me to configure the length of the gate. So let me just do that real quick. There we go. Someone said last time that they wanted me to choose noon patterns that sounded a little different. Part of the problem with the noon is everything bleeds into each other, so it's hard for you to always pick out one channel for the other, but I think this one's nice. So let's listen again. If I turn all the ads off, they're synced. If I turn just add 4 on, it's like the second one is delayed or is 4 beats later than the first one. If I turn subtract on, it's 4 beats earlier. What if I turn on add 8? Then now we have this, it's playing its shadow pattern, which I think sounds so cool. And then of course, if we change the pattern on the first one again, the same thing will happen on the second one. The patterns will change, so they'll keep this relationship, but the pattern will just change. So say instead of adding 9 by default, I add 11 by default. So I just think that is a really cool extension of what we were doing in the first example.